I was recently having a conversation with some business bankers about the landscape of what's happening in the business credit world. And so I wanted to share that with you in this video because I've been doing this since 2022. And if there's something that I've noticed based on the data that we're seeing is it was far easier to get approved for business credit, whether you had an LLC, whether it was an S Corp, C Corp. And the approval rates were sitting at right around, I'd say 70 to about 80%. So this means that for every 10 files that were pushed through an underwriter's desk, you would have 7 approvals. That's since changed, especially as I continue to see more entrepreneurs that we start to work with. And I just start to see some clear distinctions of why this is happening. And so right now, the approval rates sit at right around 25%. And that's across multiple banks. So that's across your regional banks, that's across your national banks, and that's also across your credit unions. And again, this is coming from some of the best business bankers in the country that we have connections with and that we speak to. So this isn't just me blowing data like out of thin air. And the first thing that I've noticed that a lot of these underwriters say of what's missing with these files, and what I also see whenever we're checking on business owners, is they just flat out don't have the right data on their business credit profiles. This means that the naming convention that they're using is getting their businesses flagged as potential high risk. It could be because of the industry selection that they're using. So now we're talking about NAICS codes. It's also because of the lack of liquidity. Sometimes it's a combination of all of these. And so I say this because it's not just about going out and just submitting a ton of credit applications, which a lot of people tend to do. They just want to stuff the system with as many attempts as possible. But this isn't 2021, this isn't 2022. Kind of plane flying over me right now. It's a plane path, by the way, where I'm at. So if this isn't 2021, this isn't 2022. So you can't just blindly submit stuff thinking that you're going to get approved, because you actually end up hurting yourself or hurting your business's ability to get access to capital later on, because you end up causing what's known as they call it credit phishing, which means that you start to look desperate to the banks, to the credit unions, because they start to see that you're trying to essentially force your way into their system. And so this is actually a no-go. And so one of the things that I highly recommend for you to consider if your goal is to get access to business credit is you're going to want to do an audit of your entity structure. And the way that you do this is I'm going to give you like a quick checklist that you can run through. And by the way, if you need help with any of this, you could book a call down below. We could take a look at your business, see where you're at, help you put a funding system into place. But you're going to want to start at the top. You're going to want to start at the name of the business, because you have to think the way that the algorithm does, which is they're trying to reduce as much manual underwrite as possible. And so if they can easily flag a business for a denial, they're going to do it based on this. You're going to take a look at your name. Is there anything on your name that's going to get you flagged? I'm going to give you a couple things on there that possibly will. So if you have like the word investments on there, they're not liking that. If you have the word, what's another one that we recently got? If you have the word fix and flips, land development, it's not that those businesses are illegal, and it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that those businesses are seen as high risk and highly speculative. And so that's going to be the first thing. Second thing that you're going to want to look at is the industry classification of the business. This is how your business is going to be categorized and bucketed. Now, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube and a lot of people saying, just go ahead and select consulting. Just go ahead and select something generic. No. Like, we just had a conversation inside of our inner circle with our clients, and we brought on one of the best business bankers in the country. And he actually mentioned that they're actually getting privy to that, especially in going into Q2. And it's like a loophole / hack that's just played out, according to him and what he mentioned. And so what they're doing is that if anyone comes in with something like consulting And if there's no congruency in the business, so if you're using like NAICS code 541611, which is a common one, they're actually seeing that as like a little asterisk, meaning, hey, let's pay attention to this business and see if this is an actual business that does consulting. And so one of the ways that they're seeing, is this a business that does consulting, or is this just a business that is trying to essentially loophole its way in, is they'll take a look at the ledger on the type of transactions that your business is running, if there is any. And if it doesn't make sense, and if there's no congruency with how an actual consulting business spends their finances, spends their money, then they actually end up denying you altogether. Rather, the algorithm does. So the algorithm is getting a lot smarter. The third thing that you want to take a look at is going to be the location of the business. And this goes beyond just having a virtual office address. I've talked about this in other videos, and I'll say it again. If you just have a virtual office address on your business, but you actually haven't done research on the address, meaning it's not flagged as a CMRA, or as a non-CMRA, I should say, a non-commercial mail receiving agency, and it's a physical location. You probably can't see it now, but I'm actually walking toward one right now where they actually rent out offices. It doesn't matter if it's Regis, it doesn't matter if it's Opus, they all do the same thing. You just want to make sure that when you're looking up your address, it's an address, there goes that plane again, it's an address that you're able, or that like when you take it to a bank, they're able to see it as a physical location. It can't be a private mailbox number, it can't be a PO box. It has to be a physical location. Now, obviously, if you're a brick and mortar, then like keep that. That's going to supersede any virtual office address that you could ever rent out. And the last piece that I want to give you here is the business bank account. You got to start moving away from just using cash for your transactions. And if you've already moved away from that, then fantastic. But this is going to increase your internal score with the bank, because there's two algorithms. There is the credit profile for the business owner and the business, and then there's the internal algorithm with the banks. And one of the ways, and one of the easiest ways that you can increase that internal algorithm with them is by having liquidity. Liquidity essentially means that you have cash moving through that account. And so it actually makes your business look less risky. The whole theme of this talk today, and the whole theme of this video, is to make your business look as least risky as possible, which increases your ability to access capital on behalf of the business. And so you see each of these four pieces, and by the way, there's more than this, but I at least want to give you like the lowest hanging fruit that you can work on right now when this video ends. Because if you can nail this, it's going to get easier for you while everyone else around you is struggling. Because believe me, we're seeing it in real time. We're getting the calls. People are booking the calls, and we're seeing their profiles in real time. We're saying, hey, like, there's so many things here that are jacked up that we have to fix, and we fix it. But I at least wanted to give you this data so you can start making smarter decisions. Again, if you're here to help with any of this, book a call down below. See you on the inside.